G'day guys, it's your host Holy Critic back with you today. And I've been begrudging the idea of making this video because the thought of dredging up the past year in film, it's painful to even go to the places that I'm about to go to, but I've compiled a list of my top 5 absolute worst movies of 2019, and to tell you the truth, this has to be one of, if not the worst years in movies that I think I've ever seen. Yeah, in my memory bank. And a lot of films this year that I hated got critical praise. And I was stupid enough to watch them expecting the movie to, live up to the hype. Case in point is my 5th spot on the list, and that being the art house film The Lighthouse. And what can I say about this movie? It's black and white. It's dreary. It's slow. It makes no sense whatsoever. And the dialogue I would describe as indecipherable. Because throughout the whole movie, they speak in Old English, in rhyming poetry type language, and it's excruciating to watch. And in fact, the movie goes for 1 hour and 49 minutes, but it may as well have been a 3-hour movie, 4-hour movie, because it just drags the entire time and nothing makes sense, and you have not a care in the world about what happens to the 2 main characters in the whole story. And that's it. You've got 2 characters at the center of the plot, and neither of them makes sense. It's impossible to understand their backstory, and for the whole time I was watching it, apart from falling asleep, I kept thinking, why is this rated so well? Why is it rated so highly? And to illustrate my point, I'm going to read a scene of dialogue, and I want you to just watch and see if I make any sense whatsoever. All right, so there's the character there, Thomas. And I'm just going to do a little theatrical play here with some props that I've come up with on the spot. I'll just put this on. And this Wi-Fi dongle will act as my smoking pipe, okay? Let me just get into character, just to emphasize what I had to go through watching this movie. "2,000 men went into the water. 200 men came out. Shark, he take the rest. And you can take that to the bank." Let's read some dialogue. And I apologize for not getting it right. "Damn ye! Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow. Hark, hark, Triton. Hark! Below bid our father the Sea King, rising from the depths, full foul in his fury, black waves teeming with salt foam, to smother this young mouth with a pungent slime, to choke ye, engorging your organs till ye turn blue and bloated, with bilge and brine, and can scream no more." And that is what I had to endure. Can you blame me for putting it on the list? Uh, yeah, apologise about that. I flunked out of drama school. Wasn't my racket. Moving on to fourth spot now, and this is a movie that I regretfully hyped in a video I made on the top 5 anticipated horror movies of 2019. And when I went to see it, boy, did I regret that. I should have issued a retraction, because this one didn't put even a dent on the original 1980s version. Because all it was a ridiculously derivative, cheap jump scare pile of garbage. And forgive me for not remembering the finer plot points, because this was earlier in the year, around April, that I watched it. All I can remember was wondering, why is this father accepting his zombie child back in the home? Why has he taken her back? She's doing all these freaky things, right? You know, he resurrects her, goes to the pet cemetery, which was completely ruined by the poor CGI. Again, nothing like the original. Resurrects his daughter. But she's doing these horrible things, and he's just la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da. You know it's going to end badly. You know everybody's just going to die horribly. And you begin to wonder, what is this all about? What's the whole point of this movie? And me and my mate were watching it. We were having a good old time, because we were laughing at all the lame jump scares over and over and over again. When are Hollywood producers going to learn? It's a tired formula. It doesn't work. You have to have interesting, complex characters. Like the ones from Doctor Sleep, a great horror movie. I loved it. And it was a sequel to The Shining. You think it would suck, wouldn't you? It was a great movie. It stood on its own right. This movie attempted to be almost a shot-for-shot remake and didn't even succeed in that task. I've erased it from my memory. A lot of you guys have too, or haven't seen it. Don't watch it. It isn't worth your time. Let's move on. So, we're at number 3 now. And I was in a difficult predicament with my movie selections here, because Keanu Reeves, God bless his soul and all, not one of my favourite top tier actors. Just putting it out there. This year, he did 2 stinkers. One in which the critics rightfully lambasted, Replicas, which made Will Smith's I, Robot look like a masterpiece. Wow, what a bad movie. And I don't think I can even... No. My memory is, this one's just slipped into a black hole. This came and went. I must have daydreamed through it. Because I can't even remember what it was about. Junk. Garbage. But that wasn't the only bad movie that Keanu made in 2019. John Wick Chapter 3. What? What? Why would I select this movie? Because it tried to be The Matrix, but it was set in the real world. Things were happening. And I'm mainly talking about the damage that John Wick takes throughout the course of the movie. He's beaten, he's stabbed, he's thrown off heights, he's run over, and he keeps regenerating. Is this a simulation? Is this guy immortal? Is he a superhero? How is he able to take so much damage? Chopping his finger off, bleeding to death. This guy is unaffected. He just continues. He's relentless. It's trying to be The Matrix mixed with Die Hard, and it's neither. It's laughable. It's self-parody. You know, why are we 3 movies into John Wick? It was about a guy's dog being murdered. Horrible. But it's a one-movie idea. It's a revenge flick. It's been done to death and done to death. And this movie offers self-parody. That's its only unique factor. It's having a laugh. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. Now, people who watch this and take it seriously, how can you? It's just one action sequence after another action sequence, and it all looks artificially choreographed. He's throwing axes across the room and it's just lodging in people's heads. I mean, what? Is this guy Thor? Come on, guys. This was a terrible movie, and it deserves to be called out for being a terrible movie. And how do the critics love it? Why do the fans love it? I don't know. Please tell me, am I missing something here? Because the movie sucked. He gets shot like 4 times, falls off a 10-story building, lands on the road, and crawls away. And then they have the gall to allude to a sequel. There's going to be a John Wick 4. Why? There's literally no story. There's no plot. It's just one action sequence from the next to the next to the next until the final boss. It was like a video game movie. And each tier was different henchmen that he had to face along the way until you get to the boss. It sucked. And I can't decide whether this 3rd spot belongs to John Wick or Replicas. But either way, Keanu Reeves had a stinker of a year. And speaking of stinkers, what is John Travolta doing with his life? This year he made The Fanatic. Next year, it'll be some other piece of garbage. And so has been the case for the past 20 years of his career. He's an actor who's either suffering the longest nervous breakdown in human history, or he's on drugs. And he needs to feed the habit however which way he can. Because this pathetic excuse for a movie is beyond my comprehension. You know, this guy's been in the business for 40 years, maybe even longer. And he agrees to sign off on a movie that's not only directed by Fred Durst, who, if you didn't know, is the lead singer in the band Limp Bizkit, who haven't been relevant since 1999, but that's another topic for another video. But he agrees to dress up like an autistic hillbilly trailer trash tourist. Did he think he was somehow reinventing his career by choosing to star in this movie? To be the headlining actor in it? Where he wanders around Hollywood trying to find his favourite, celebrity and gets a star map and goes to his house and demands an autograph? It's obviously a social commentary on rabid fans out there, but it's terrible. It's just straightforward. And then the guy rejects him and he goes dangerous, and then it becomes a thriller, and he starts stalking, and there's no lesson to be learned here. He's just a crazy guy doing crazy things for 90 minutes. And if you want to talk about miscast actors, this has to go down as one of the most miscast decisions. Maybe on par with John Wayne as Genghis Khan. This movie is good for a laugh. It's the quintessential good bad movie. Watch it if you want to have some. I watched it on my own. I made a mistake. I should have watched it with a whole bunch of my mates, where we could have just picked holes in it. But this is just it gets second spot because you expect better from John Travolta. But he did make another movie this year that I haven't seen, called Paint It. Was it Paint It? No, I have to get this right. He made another movie this year. I haven't seen it yet, but this could top the list of his worst. He made a movie called Speed Kills. What? Oh, man, I haven't updated myself on what he's up to. Burning Rubber? Trading Paint. I haven't seen this movie yet, but it's probably worse. Nah, it can't be worse. It can't be worse. I'm sorry. Somebody should stitch all of these movies together. Fire your agent, buddy. Just retire. Go away. Honestly. Okay, so if you just thought that was the bottom of the barrel, wait till you get a load of... Nah, I actually haven't seen Cats yet, guys, and it would be disrespectful, it'd be disingenuous of me to paint a broad brush and bash this film, which looks like a load of tripe. I'm not denying that, but I haven't seen it yet. I probably won't ever see it. I hate musicals. This is looking like it's going to earn top spot for a lot of other people, but I've seen something even worse than Cats. And I know for a fact you haven't seen it. But, you know, in the lead up to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there was a few other films that were released as cash-in attempts over the 50-year anniversary of the Sharon Tate murders by the Manson family. And there was a absolutely disgusting movie, if I could use that word, titled The Haunting of Sharon Tate, which I would describe as a grindhouse, low-rent, exploitation horror movie. And this movie wasn't funny. You know, most of the movies in this list you could kind of laugh at, you could mock. This movie, however, spits in the face of Sharon Tate's legacy. Because it tries to make it fact-based. It tries to appear like it's based on what really happened. Except in this version of, or revision of history, Sharon Tate can apparently get visions of the future. And she knew that the Manson crew were going to rock up at her house before it happened. And the first half of the movie is her having these horrendous dreams of what fate lies ahead. And then the second half is torture porn. Because they go into grueling detail all what happened at the scene on Cielo Drive. And of course, you've got Hilary Duff playing the character of Sharon Tate. when really she should just have stuck to being Lizzie McGuire. Because surely she read this script. A script which, by the way, must have been written in 5 minutes. It must have been scrolled down as they were making the movie. The script was a work in progress. The scenes, many of which are ad-libbed, make no sense. It's just exploiting a famous event to cash in on the 50-year anniversary. Don't watch this movie. It's abysmal. It drags. Makes no sense. Not even honest to the true history. Let's just put it like this. I'm no fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I didn't like that ending. That ending was more realistic than the one in Haunting of Sharon Tate. I hope that the producers of this film get sued by the family for putting her name in the title. Because you remove that name, The Haunting of insert any other name, it's just a mindless slasher. But by putting in her name, they thought they could get a few people to watch and buy the movie. It's a disgrace. This is the most disgraceful movie I've seen this decade. Well, that's about all I can say, guys. It's been a pretty pathetic year in movies, I have to admit. And if I could grade 2019 on a scale, I'd give it a solid C-. Not the best way to end the decade, but fingers crossed that 2020 will bring us some more viewing delights. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give me a thumbs up. It really, really encourages me. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already, because I've got plenty more rare but good movies that you can watch at your viewing leisure. Just want to wish you a happy 2020. Enjoy your New Year's celebrations, and I'll catch you again on the other side.